Davidson is gaining a lot of attention after being linked to Kim Kardashian. Yeah, there are now some developing Hollywood beefs because of this, especially between Pete and Kanye West, and there has been some information that's been exposed and resurfaced, but there are some things from his past that I'm sure Pete wants to keep hidden. Today, let's talk about those times from the past as we count down the top 10 secrets Pete Davidson doesn't want you to know. At number 10, college dropout. These days, the status quo for many of us is graduate high school, go to college, graduate, find a job, and eventually die, right? Well, many of us are challenging that these days, and Pete Davidson is one of those people. Pete is one of the many celebrities who started going to college but eventually dropped out to pursue his dreams. Pete graduated from Xaverian High School in 2012 and ended up going to St. Francis College for a full semester before eventually deciding to drop out. The comedian said that he wanted to follow his passion for comedy, and so he left college to dedicate himself to his craft, making being a comedian his full-time job. He serves as a good role model to anyone looking to pursue their dreams as well, even though it can be scary, especially when it comes to anything in the arts. Like my mom always used to tell me, follow your passion and the money will follow you. At number 9, war veteran. We know that Pete Davidson is a comedian on SNL. We also know that Pete can sometimes go a little too far with his jokes. Back in 2018, Pete was making jokes about his opinion on the US midterm elections, and he was alongside former Navy SEAL Dan Crenshaw for the bit. Dan is a former soldier who lost his eye in 2012 when an IED exploded. This was no doubt a traumatic event for the former SEAL, but Pete still decided to make a joke about it, though it didn't go over well. During the bit on SNL, Pete joked about Dan's injury, saying, quote, "You may be surprised to hear he's a congressional candidate from Texas and not a hitman in a porno movie. I'm sorry, I know he lost his eye in a war, whatever." End quote. Pete ended up facing some backlash over his comment, and even some of his SNL co-stars made comments about the nature of Pete's joke. Dan ended up getting revenge on Pete, as in the following week on the show he got to poke fun at Pete in return. Though back when this scandal originally happened, not that many people got upset, since he has now had his fame boosted because of Kim K. He risks having his past exposed again, and this scandal might be a secret that Pete wishes would stay secret. Before we carry on talking about some of the shady things that Pete Davidson doesn't want you to know about, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, suspicious social media. The most dedicated fans are always watching their favorite celebrities' every move. Nowadays, celebrities can't get away with much without having their fans expose them, and this is how it was revealed that Pete can be a little sus online. Back when Pete had just started dating Ariana Grande, fans noticed something a little off about the comments he would leave under his girl's posts. An example of this comes from back in 2016 when Pete commented under his then girlfriend Cazzie David's post, saying, quote, "I love you so much, Kaz, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I find new things to love about you every day." Fast forward to 2018 when he was dating Ariana Grande, when he left a comment on one of her posts saying, quote, "Hi, I'm the luckiest contest winner ever," end quote. Some fans found it a little weird how he used the word luckiest so much. It could have just been a coincidence, which is what I believe, but other fans thought that the word repetition could indicate that he was disingenuous with his thoughts and comments on his partners. This could be a stretch, but don't come for me about it, blame the fans. Pete could want this to all stay a secret because fans might catch on to Pete's true nature if all that they're saying is true. At number 7, engagement ring. Speaking of past partners though, let's talk about the time that Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande were engaged. Fans were a little sussed out when they learned about the timeline of Ariana and Pete's engagement because it turns out that Pete had reached out to a designer about getting a ring for Ariana, suspiciously soon after he and Cazzie David had split. Though news of the engagement broke in June of 2018, Pete and Cazzie's split broke the news on May 16th, 2018, but according to celebrity jeweler Greg Yuna, Pete had hit him up about an engagement ring for Ariana at the end of May. That didn't leave much time between the breakup and thoughts about marrying another person. Fans thought that this was pretty suspicious and could prompt theories as to what Pete might have been doing behind the scenes. Perhaps this is a secret that Pete would want to keep hidden over risk of being exposed and cancelled. At number 6, Cazzie David. Pete Davidson's relationship with Cazzie David, the daughter of comedian Larry David, was Pete's first high-profile long-term relationship. Cazzie and Pete started seeing each other in May of 2016, and they went through a lot together. As any couple does, they had their share of struggles, but it eventually got to the point where they just couldn't carry on in a healthy relationship, and so they broke up in May of 2018. In 2020, Cazzie published a collection of essays titled "No One Asked for This," where she opened up about her breakup with Pete, recalling the struggles that the both of them had with their mental health during their relationship. Cazzie was devastated when she and Pete broke up, but because of Pete's struggles with his mental health, she had to do what was best for her and let him go. Cazzie also exposed the fact that she and Pete broke up the day before finding out that Pete and Ariana were together. The end of Cazzie and Pete's relationship was pretty painful, as you could no doubt imagine, coming out of a 2-year-long relationship, but according to sources, they are friends now and that works for them. At number 5, Staten Island. Let's stray away from the relationship drama and get back to Pete's comedy to reveal another secret that he might want to keep hidden. I told you about one of the jokes Pete made about a former veteran that didn't go over well, but here's another one that ended up offending his hometown of Staten Island. In 2012, a Category 3 hurricane passed through Staten Island, causing destruction and devastation in the area. Hundreds of people lost their homes and businesses, so with this somber aftermath, it probably wasn't the best time to be making jokes, though Pete ended up doing it anyway. In 2016, Pete ended up poking fun at the natural disaster that ripped through his hometown when he said, quote, "Hurricane Sandy should have finished the job when it landed in Staten Island," end quote. As you could imagine, the joke didn't go over well with those who were affected by the devastation. He later went on to defend his remarks when he said, quote, "To be fair, I was raised there and Staten Island should share some of the blame," end quote. This caused him to face a lot of backlash, and though this has all since died off, there's always the chance of it resurfacing to cause more trouble for the comedian, so maybe he would prefer if this scandal stayed hidden in the shadows. At number 4, Manchester joke. You guys might remember the Manchester attack at Ariana Grande's 2017 concert. It was a bombing at one of her shows that caused mass casualties and injuries. It was certainly no laughing matter, but Pete Davidson still decided to make a joke about the terrible incident, and as you can imagine, it did not go over well. Looking back on it, this is probably something from his past that he would have wanted to keep hidden because it was so controversial. In the fall of 2017, Pete made a joke saying that after this attack, Ariana should have realized how famous she was because, quote, "Britney Spears didn't have a terrorist attack at her concert," end quote. This joke didn't go over well at the time, but a year later when it resurfaced after Pete and Ariana started dating, Ari defended her man, saying that he was just using humor to cope with the tragedy. Fans still weren't happy about what was said, and now that Pete has even more clout because of Kim K, if this joke were to resurface again, he could face more backlash than ever before. At number 3, Tic Tacs. During a segment on SNL while Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande were still dating, Pete made a joke about his relationship with the singer and trapping her in their relationship, and this ended up causing more backlash than genuine laughter. During the segment, Pete was talking about how Ariana was the breadwinner in their relationship and how he was just living off her wealth, and made a joke that he was trying to trap her in the relationship so that he could keep living like that. Pete said that in order to keep her around, he switched her birth control pills with Tic Tacs, saying, quote, "Last night I switched her birth control with Tic Tacs. I believe in us and all. I just want to make sure that she can't go anywhere." This ended up causing some controversy because fans said that not only should Pete not be able to control his girlfriend's reproductive rights, but that it was also hella toxic that he joked about trapping her. This is probably one comment that Pete wishes would stay hidden because judging by the fact that he is currently dating Kim K, people might think that he might pull a stunt like this again. At number 2, Howard Stern. There are just some things that you shouldn't share with the public about your relationship, and your intimacy is definitely one of those things. But Pete doesn't hold back with anything, and in 2018 he told Howard Stern about his private time with Ariana Grande. The comedian dished about the intimate time he spent with Ariana, saying, quote, "Anytime we're intimate, I'm always apologizing and saying thank you. You're awesome for doing this. Thank you so much," end quote. To make matters even more uncomfortable, Pete also talked about how before they were together, he would pleasure himself to the thought of Ariana Grande. It is a really weird and gross thing to say publicly, so this might be a comment that Pete wishes that he could keep from the public because it could reflect badly on him and his new relationship with Kim K. And finally, at number 1, Spotlight. In the past, Pete has reflected on the fame that he has as a comedian and just as a public figure in general, saying that he doesn't always like having all eyes on him. With that said though, some people have called those comments hypocritical because of the fact that though he hates the spotlight, he enters relationships with A-list celebrities. Now that he's dating one of the biggest celebrities, those hypocritical comments could come back to cause controversies, so maybe this is something that he could have wished was secret. Before we wrap things up for today, I want you guys to leave a comment down below telling me what you think about Pete Davidson's secrets that we have revealed today. Has it changed your opinion on the comedian? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments. Anyways, that's it for me. I've been your host, Room, and until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and stay groovy, friends.